If you want to live freely, connecting what you love with creating real impact, this podcast is for you. This season, Elevate Boss has one focus: women in business. In every episode, a visionary woman shares what she knows and what she learned building in the real world. I'm Florencia Heine, founder of Humana, a network of networks where women from around the world are building the businesses of the future. Businesses that give them geographic, mental, and economic freedom while improving the planet as they live aligned to their purpose. Today, I'm joined by Amy Kelly, a strategic life research and confidence coach and the founder of Dream Life Reset. Amy supports women through heartbreak, burnout, and major life transitions, helping them rebuild confidence, reconnect with their bodies, regulate the nervous system, and create a life that feels truly aligned from the inside out. Her work lives at the intersection of emotional healing, feminine confidence, identity, nervous system safety, and bold life redesign. In this conversation, we are going to explore what it really takes to start again, how women can move from survival mode into self-trust, why success has to feel safe in the body, and how to expand without abandoning ourselves in the process. Amy, welcome to Elevate Boss. I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I love that introduction. It was so nice.
Okay, let's dive in. Amy, before we talk about coaching, nervous system work, or
hmm
confidence, I would love to start with your own reset. What was the moment when you realized I can keep living a life that looks good from the outside but feels wrong inside?
Yes, thank you for that. I think for me, my own journey, which I lead with, is going through, early divorce, resetting my life at a young age. Not something that I ever like anticipated or thought that that would ever happen to me. But, I did get married at an early age. I followed society's patterns of like, get married, get the house, get the car, and follow university. There is nothing wrong with that. That's what I thought was the right thing for me. And when I achieved all them things, I was like, oh, something isn't quite right. And I decided to, you know, when I was in like a career, I was like, this isn't what I want to do. And I saw other people living a life of like freedom and traveling and, working remotely. I was like, there's no way I could ever do that. There's no way. Like my current reality would never allow me to do that. So fast forward to when I was around 27 years old and the marriage started to break down. I was faced with a moment of what do I do now with my life? The house had sold, the car had gone, my career ended, the marriage had gone. I was back with my parents in my like household of the family home, and I just knew that something had to change, and that change was me. So I took a one-way flight very quickly, decided to leave the UK, didn't look back, took a one-way flight to the other side of the world, and really just said, right, that's it. I'm going to reinvent myself. I want to know who Amy really is. So that's what I did. And I traveled, I went through Central and South America and really started to reconnect through other ways, like, drinking and dancing, and didn't really know how to manage my emotions, but still trying to find a way of who am I without these roles. So that's what I did. And then started to lean more into mentorship, which is when I had my first coach, and realized that I really wanted to help other women on their journey of what does a life reset really take? What does it look like? How to do it in a sustainable way, because I didn't.
That is so wonderful, Amy. And that question that what to want to do right now is some question that
Yep.
every woman can make in some point of your life. There is a beautiful line in your work that is, you are
Mm,
not broken, you are
mm.
dysregulated. What changed for a woman when she stopped seeing herself as broken and start understanding what her body is trying to tell her.
Yeah. First step that I say to every single woman that I speak with is awareness. I often think this is missed. It's actually being aware of your current reality. Like if you can see that and actually like, oh, I am dysregulated. This is not a normal pattern. This is not how I should behave, i.e., overworking, overtired, never listening to body, people pleasing your way through life. When you start to realize that that's not really how you have to live, that's the awareness piece. Then you can start making some changes and start shifting that and actually honoring yourself. Now, we're all high achievers. We all like to, get work done. But there is the opposite to that, and that is the rest and the relaxation. The power is in the rest. So when you can start allowing your body to fully heal, like let go of like everything, every outcome, every possibility, and really lean into the body. A lot of the time, we're just thinking with our head, this part, I need to do this, I've got to do all these things. What about the rest of your body? When did you last actually sit there, connect with yourself? How are you really feeling? And unfortunately, we're going to, if you don't listen, you will hit burnout or you'll hit some sort of problem, which is going to make you stop, which is what I hear over and over again is I had a health scare or something happened and then I had to really step back. I want to speak to you before that happens. Like you can make changes now in your life. You don't have to get to extreme case to make a change. For me, it was the divorce that was like, oh, you've got to do something different. Why can't I have avoided all that pain and actually listen to myself and my body and trust my own instincts years earlier? But I didn't, because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our own voice, our own inner power, our own bodies. Our bodies have a lot of answers. A lot of the time we try and seek it from everybody else. Mom and dad, what do you think? Career, what do you think? What does my best friend think? What do you think? When did you last actually ask yourself, what do you think about your own life, your own capabilities? What is lying underneath that? And oftentimes we have to dig a little bit to find you who's hiding underneath everything that you've told yourself.
Yes, that is really insightful, Amy. What are the early signs that your body is saying this version of success is not sustainable anymore?
I think the earliest sign is this overworking, this restlessness, this anxiety, this feeling that you can't shake off. You go to the gym, you go to swimming, you go and dance, but that feeling doesn't leave. It's like something that you can't seem to let go of because you can do the external work, but you're not doing any of the internal work. But actually looking at these emotions, sitting with yourself, sitting in that quiet time. When I talk about my early journey of that divorce and partying and drinking, I try to avoid. And that avoidant mentality came with me because I didn't want to sit with myself. I didn't want to sit in the discomfort. It wasn't very nice. It wasn't a nice feeling. But unfortunately, to move forward, you have to kind of sit with yourself a little bit and see what's actually happening. Don't get me wrong, going to the gym, doing exercise, meeting your friends, it's an important part of the journey. But ultimately, you have to sit with you. You're the person who has to sit with yourself every night and every day. Now, we're very good at, the overperforming with your friends. Like, I'm great, everything's fine. But how are you really on an average Tuesday evening alone? That's who you really are. That's them thoughts, the mentality that's coming through. That's what you're living with day to day. So that's what you need to look at. How are you behaving? What are your thoughts? Are you overworking? Are you restless? Are you always tired? Are you never eating, your food, properly, sitting down, enjoying it? Can you really enjoy time with friends and family? Or are you thinking about work? Are you thinking about what you've got to do next? And it's almost like that joy state has been taken away from you. That actual joy of life. We have to learn again to appreciate that it's not always in the push mentality. It's actually in the complete opposite of this rest, the rejuvenation, the relaxation, the joy. I talk heavily about manifestation and stepping into your power. You cannot do that if you are dysregulated, overworking, people pleasing, avoidant. It's not going to happen. So, first of all, we've got to get safe in the body. No matter where you're at in your journey, you've got to learn how to get safe within here.
What do you think about to be in silence with you? That is like, for me, in my own journey, but like my best teacher when I
Yeah.
move in every part of the world and start like listen to you, right?
Mm. Listening and being quiet is a very hard technique to get through first. So what I would say, I can do 10 to 15 to an hour now in silence. I couldn't even do 1 minute when I started. So I always ask, okay, you don't want to do the full 10 minutes. Let's start with 1 minute per day in the morning and set a timer and stop. That's it. Timers really help because it like challenges the mind. Like, okay, I only have 1 minute. I can do this. So 1 minute a week. Then we go to 2 minutes and then 3 minutes. We're not overwhelming the body with it. Like, go and sit in silence for 2 hours and deal with it. No, like gradual 1% better every single day and sit with the silence. Because, first of all, you have to get rid of the noise. The noise is sat there. You're not enough. You can't do this. You're a waste of time. Let them all filter through. And then we can start sitting with who you really are, sitting with that moment of the emotions, and then connecting with the higher powers, the spirit, whoever you want to speak with, and see what actually comes through for you.
I love your approach to start with small steps. And
It is.
Amy, for women building businesses or personal
Yeah.
brands, what happens when they try to scale externally before they feel safe internally?
Good question. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It won't happen. I tried. Trust me. I know. I've been there, and so many women have, and that's why this work to me is so important, because I realized there is another way to build and create something from a very safe place, because we all have like an inner child who needs to be protected. And if you aren't protecting that and you're just ignoring it and keep going, your ultimate problem will be burnout. You will hit a place of like, this is not sustainable. I can't keep up. I'm not honoring myself anymore. My emotions are all over the place. I've lost my relationships. I might have some money, but everything else is at zero. Well, where is the happiness in that? Is that really the life that you want to live? So you have to kind of look at every aspect of your life. Yes, work is a part of that journey, but everything else is also equally ish as important. So you can't have all of something and nothing of anything else. And if that's all you're focusing on and all you want is, the financial aspect, because how many people do you know who are wealthy, who are at the top, or high entrepreneurs? There's some of them aren't happy. So if the only goal is to have money, then you're not going to be happy at the top or wherever that is a top of success for you. I think you have to get real about what it is that is happiness for you and how that looks like in the body, and creating it from a very safe place. That's why morning and evening routines are important, micro regulation, stepping into your power every single day. And not just when you get to a milestone, not just when you hit your first million. No, you've got to do it now. You've almost got to believe that this is happening right now, and do this every single day, because tomorrow isn't promised. Everyone thinks that we've got so much time ahead of us. You have no idea what journey is ahead for you. So why are we not living in this moment right now and doing the best of your abilities and working towards your goals every single day?
I love it. About everything, about enjoying your own journey, right? No, just
Mm,
we need to change the meaning about the successful. I really align with the start
yeah,
enjoying our life day by day.
yeah.
Amy, what would you tell a woman who knows she has something powerful to say, but keeps hiding because she's waiting for feel more ready?
Mm. You can keep waiting, but tomorrow kind of never happens. So I say take messy inspired action, say the thing, do it messy, do it anyway. Because if you're worried about being seen or what people are going to say about you, then you're always going to have that fear of like, oh well, they don't like me, and it's always like, but who really cares? Like in a nice way. No, most people aren't thinking about you the way you think about yourself. Focus on you and what you want to do with your life. You can spend the next 50 years worrying and thinking about following someone else's life path. But when you get to like the next, like you're 50 years ahead, is that really what you wanted to do with your life? You can get honest about changing your life right now. Ask yourself some hard questions. Is this what you really want to do? Do you really want to step outside your comfort zone? What do you have to say in this world? I believe that everybody has a medicine, everybody has something to give. So lean into your natural abilities. Start seeing what they can be. Try new things, test out. Don't be afraid of, rocking the boat. Rock the boat as much as you want. You make a mistake. Okay, great. You learned the lesson. Let's keep moving. And I think we're almost so stay in this, like, the four walls that we built in our own mind, when there is actually like a way to like expand them and expand them in a safe way. Especially for women, we need a lot of safety and reassurance and support and guidance. That's why I would say, get the mentorship, get the coach, get some support in a way that will help you and really step you into that next level, because there are levels and you're going to reach that new step, and the new step, how are you going to get yourself through that? So listening to yourself and that safety element, that's what I would say. And don't be afraid that you're going to speak your truth. If some people don't like it, that's not your problem. Not everything I say people like. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm, Amy, let's deep into your mission. Okay. You are in a
Yeah.
season of expanding from deep one-to-one work and into more one-to-many spaces like community events, retreats, speaking. And what is the inner shift required to stop carrying everyone individually and start holding a bigger room?
Mm. The inner belief that you have of yourself that you're not capable, like this isn't for me, like them inner critics will always be there. You've got to work on your own self to say, actually, I have all the knowledge and all the power already within me. Yes, you can seek it and get help and guidance and support, but you ultimately already have the power. You just have to believe that you have the power. People who stand on stages and have that ability to control the room, they've worked on their own self, because you believe what they say, because they say it with so much intention. You can train yourself to have the exact same. You don't need all of these, certificates like I've done this and I've done that and I've achieved this. No, because you know the answers. If you truly fundamentally believe in what you're saying, which I do in my mission, it is a lot easier because I can hold that ability. But don't get me wrong, there's been inner, like, stopping gaps to say, actually, I don't think you can do that. Okay, where did that belief come from? Start working with, like, where did it come from? Let's get to the root of that and let's change that narrative. Because, there's no leader at the top who hasn't had the setbacks, the no, sorry, I don't think that's for you, or I don't think you're capable of that. Of course, people are going to say that. Not everyone's opinion matters. Again, like, okay, thank you for your input, but I'm actually going to continue. And that's where that inner belief comes from. So stripping everything back, really homing in on what you want to do, creating that belief system, which I prime my mind every single day. I work with my mind, my meditations. I don't allow external noise in. So I'm very careful who I have my energy around. I'm very careful about who gives me advice. And yeah, don't try and seek it from anyone else. You have the answer here. So work more on you, and then everything else will expand from there.
Awesome. I love your words, Amy. Um, your retreats bring together travel, sisterhood, embodiment, and reset. What do you think leaving your usual environment can be such a powerful catalyst for becoming a new version of yourself?
Yes, it's a huge part, because You learn a lot about yourself. A lot of the time, if you're with family and friends, you don't really expand outside your comfort zone. When you go to a new destination, I've traveled a lot and lived in different countries, you realize you're capable of so much more. You can't sit behind a desk and hide a little bit. You've got to be out there, meet new people. Some of my best friends are from connections when I said to somebody, I like what you're wearing. And from I like what you're wearing, then became a best friend of mine. You know, the abilities of connection and creation is amazing when you put yourself out there. You've got to be able to stand outside of there, be comfortable with a no and be like okay with that. Like, okay, they didn't want to speak to me, that's fine. But the power of, I talk about energies and the proximity is power. Like the best coach in the world is called Tony Robbins, and he says, you need to get in environments that change you. That's like his number one thing. You've got to be in there. You've got to expand. That doesn't mean you have to go and live in New York City and be the only way you're going to grow. I don't believe that. I do believe that maybe taking solo trips if you're able to, virtual communities if you aren't able to travel, maybe get into your local city, wherever that may be, meet new people. The town you're brought up in is not the place that you have to stay for the rest of your life. You can expand, meet new people, new friends, LinkedIn, Instagram, reach out to whoever, ask them questions, and don't be afraid of wherever that may go. One thing I've learned definitely is not holding back. I don't hold back with questions. I meet amazing people through the power of this. So, I believe in manifestations. I believe in the higher power. So if you step outside of there, you will be met with something or someone who can help you and change your life.
Yes. Go out from your comfort zone is a must that you must to
It
do
is.
in some point. If a woman listening today is in a season of transition, burnout, or rebuilding herself, what are the three things that you hope she remember after this conversation, Amy?
Yeah. Rebuilding your life isn't easy, and it takes a lot of courage and, credit if you are doing this and you're doing it alone. Remember that you are in your divine power. You just have to find her a little bit more. You've lost her along the way. She's scared, she's frightened, she's nervous because maybe something's happened, maybe it's been traumatic. So you need to reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. So through meditations, through prayer, through gratefulness, really, sit with the inner child work. If you can, find a mentor. Don't do this alone. I thought that I had to do absolutely everything alone to succeed. It's the complete opposite. And you have to create and find a community of people who understand you, who can see you and help you grow through this next step. Remember to honor your body. Your body has all the answers. I didn't know this either. I had no idea. If you've got maybe, facial acne, or you're feeling stressed in the back, or something's showing up in a pain in a part of your body, find out why. Where is this coming from? Why do you constantly have headaches? So reconnect with everything, slow it right down. This is not time. If you're going through a life reset, it's not time to get busier. It's time to actually do the complete opposite. Get back down to regulation, eating the right food, sleeping 8 hours a day. Regulation is the most important part of any of this journey. Because, if you're making decisions for the rest of your life from a very dysregulated place, you're one decision away from a very different life. So be careful and mindful of where you are right now. Take time to make decisions at this point if you're in a critical place in your life. And yeah, lean on the others for support and guidance, because you sometimes don't know exactly the full picture when you're in it, and you can only see exactly what you've created. Maybe just, I wouldn't say just friends and family. I would definitely try and seek it from like mentorship or coaching, because they may have been through it and can see it at a bigger scale than you can. So that's something I learned in my journey. So don't be alone either.
Amazing. You remember some script about Steve Jobs that when you can see after all your journey, you can connect them all the points. So
Yeah, exactly.
thank
Yeah.
you for remember us that, Amy.
Mm.
And Before we close, I want to leave on a note that looks to the future. I wanted you imagine that your voice could echo through generations, and you had the chance to leave only one and just one lesson for the women founders of the future. What could it be?
That you have all the answers. You have the power already inside of you. Don't try and seek it from anyone or anything else. You are amazing. You have this, aura about you that is so powerful. I want you to remember how powerful you really are, and don't let anybody take that away from you, a relationship or a career, that can really pull you back. Remembering if it has happened and you'll feel like you're stepping away from who you really are, get back to your practices, get back to who, that authenticity. And remember that you've been created for a reason. You're on this earth, this universe, for maybe a message, for a divine power, whatever it is. You are a creation, and you have that ability to create an amazing life for yourself. Just remember to believe a little bit more in who you are. Make sure that you're safe. Make sure that you feel safe in the body, not trying to seek that externally. And that your energy is very powerful. You can create, you can have this vision for a life that you want for your future life. Don't let go of that. This is why I talk about the big dream. Everything is possible. It really is when you believe it is.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you for this conversation, for the time, for your beautiful energy, and
Mhm.
for sharing with us like such powerful insights that I think that resonate with a lot of women here.
Yeah, so thank you so much for hosting this space. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think it's a really powerful topic, and it's a mission bigger than me. And I'm very excited to guide other women on that journey back to themselves.
Nice. And to everyone watching or listening, I would love to know what was the biggest insight you are taking from this episode. Leave it in the comments. And if this conversation resonated with you, please like the episode, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a woman who is in a season of transition, rebuilding, or remembering her own power. And thank you for being here. And thank you for being part of Elevate Boss, Amy. Thank you again.
Thank you.